All right, welcome to another session of Star Trek Explorers, an original series era Star Trek Adventures tabletop RPG campaign. This is, I believe, the 8th episode of our campaign set aboard the USS Venture, a Constitution-class starship set during the original series era. Let's start out by introducing, my name's Fred Love, I'm the Gamemaster, and let's start out by having a scene on the bridge of the USS Venture. And we'll start with each of you introducing your characters. And we'll start just in the order that I can see you guys on my laptop. And so we'll start with Miguel.
All right. My character is Bayram Ozil. I am the Chief Medical Officer on board the USS Venture. Yes, and some of my values are danger is our mission, Doctor first, Starfleet second, and coffee is important. Very important, right?
So would Dr. Ozil be drinking coffee on the bridge of the Venture
he's in the bridge of the Venture. Yes, even though I'm sure the captain's going to be talking about coasters all the time. Awesome. You don't want to give these temperamental consuls an excuse to explode.
And yes, as Dr. Ozil is sipping his coffee, we'll say it's early in the morning aboard the bridge, and the camera pans from the doctor to Captain Harriman, who is seated in the command chair. What's he doing and what's he thinking about?
At the moment, he's wondering where his low-fat double-pump lattes that the doctor was supposed to be bringing him.
Yes. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Put a coaster under that, would you, Doctor? Yes, I'm playing Captain Robert Harriman. This is his first command, the Venture. He was a little uneasy to start with, but he's found his space legs now. He's starting to get way more confident. And that latte, Doctor?
As I said, we had to reconsider your coffee privileges after you asked for decaffeinated. That is not coffee, Captain.
You know how I get in the morning without a coffee.
Yes.
In fact, rumors, the reputation of Dr. Ozil's coffee has spread throughout the ship, and most mornings in sickbay, there's usually a long line of crewmen hoping to get a cup of Dr. Ozil's famous coffee first thing in the morning.
My God, there's people that are actually sticking in the steel from the pot. That's great.
There's actually ensigns and enlisted people who come in and act like it's almost like they're feigning a headache or just coming up with excuses to come in, just hoping that there's a cup of or a pot of coffee brewing.
Yeah, it's clockwork, and the only way they really get it is through buttering up the nurse, right?
I'm glad to see that requisition for more lab equipment didn't go unused there, Doctor. I think I might have to bring in the position of ship's barista.
Yes.
And then the camera pans back to another section of the bridge, to the tactical station, where Commander Hando Han is observing his instruments. Yong, go ahead and introduce your character.
I play Commander Hando Han, and he's a tactical officer, obviously. He has his hobbies include writing rap lyrics and also cooking. He loves kimchi casserole with sliced spam, which is some relic from middle of 20th century. But he has yet to succeed in converting his fellow officers into trying it out. But anyway, he does a pretty good job, I guess.
And the crew is still abuzz. During our last session, there was a shipwide talent show, and it ended up being won by Lieutenant Tasai, the chief engineer, who recited Vulcan poetry. But coming in a close second, Commander Han did a remarkable freestyle rap about life in Starfleet, and the crew has just been buzzing about it ever since. And the Venture is on a 5-year exploratory mission of deep space and doesn't expect to be back in the Federation's core worlds anytime soon. So you guys, week after week, you've been running into things that no Starfleet crew has run into before. And this week is no exception. The venture is exploring a planet that Starfleet has never charted before. And so we will jump in and explain that with a log entry from Captain Harriman.
Okay, so Captain's log, stardate 1930.7. The Venture has been cataloguing new star systems on the edge of the Lunar Nebula for the last 6 weeks. And while this has been a welcome change from the usual pace of the mission so far, it's also driven us a little stir-crazy. Long-range scans have picked up possible signs of civilization on a planet in the Tepcaris IV system. And although it appears that civilization is long dead, they've left behind some intriguing ruins for us to explore. The planet itself is also not without its own natural appeal, lending us an opportunity for some much-needed shore leave, if the Doctor and Security Chief deem it safe.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. So as the Venture warps into the Tepcaris IV system, you discover that Tepcaris IV, the planet with some indications that there was once a civilization here, you discover that it's actually a kind of a beautiful world that's covered mostly with jungle. And your directive for this session is to learn what happened to the long dead civilization that once inhabited Tepcaris IV. So with that directive in mind, as the Venture drops out of warp and comes into orbit around the planet, I will basically let you guys take it away and figure out how you want to explore the world and what you want to do with some shore leave time as well on this beautiful, in some ways, pristine jungle world.
Well, I guess let's start by getting some landing parties down there, getting some surveys done. And Doctor and Chief, if you can join the landing parties along with me, we'll see if we've got an opportunity here to take a little bit of shore leave.
Okay, Captain.
Sounds great, Captain. I'll prepare my crew.
So we'll do some scans from orbit, see if we can pick up any signs of this this civilization that we found on the long range scans, and pick a few sites for landing parties to beam down and take a look around.
Yeah, if someone wants to make a sensor scan from orbit, any of you can give me a reason plus science roll, and the ship can assist as well with, let me pull up the ship statistics, here we go. And the ship can assist with sensors plus science, which is a target number of 11, and this will just be a difficulty 1 roll.
I can do the ship if you guys want to do the roll.
No, right, I'll try and do this.
Success from the ship.
Yep, I will roll for the sensor sweep. So that is a science plus reason.
Yes.
Cool.
Start building up those momentum points.
5 and 20.
Okay, so the 5 is success, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we might find out why the civilization is now extinct and why we might be extinct.
I think the 20 is going to make us extinct.
You got your 2 successes, so you needed 1, so you generate 1 point of momentum. I, of course, start with 6 points of threat, 2 for each one of you. And yes, your 20 is a complication. And so here's what you find out. There are several what appear to have once been large industrialized cities on the largest southern continent on the planet. But you see no signs of continued intelligent life. So whatever, it does look like there was a pretty advanced civilization, technologically advanced civilization here that no longer exists. Let's see, what do you guys have any good ideas for a complication? Or should I just rule on something?
I'm going to say it depends on what was the technological base. Maybe they had some sort of countermeasure that was now somehow reactivated due to our scannings.
Yeah, maybe we can't sort of look inside the buildings or anything like that. We can just get a rough layout of the cities.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. There is some ionic interference in the atmosphere of the planet, and so we'll call that a trait for the planet, atmospheric interference. That's going to limit the usefulness of sensors, but Doctor, you're the one performing this sensor sweep. You don't think that it would pose any threat to life, to human life.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Any objections to setting up these landing parties then?
I mean, apparently we're going to need to get a better look at it by going on foot, so might as well.
Okay. Well, we've got quite a bit of ground to cover, so let's get a few parties down there, and we'll take up one of the parties, guys. Yeah.
Yep.
You want to drag a couple of your security folks in there with us, Commander?
Yes, absolutely, Captain. I'm gonna take a couple of guys, and I'll join you right there.
Okay, let's head on down.
Okay, so we've got the three of you in the landing party, plus how many security officers?
We'll take 2 security officers.
Okay, want to create some supporting cast members?
Sure.
Okay, let's give these 2 security officers some names then.
Let's call up the old Star Trek name generator. Any particular preference for species?
What do we have for the budget?
The makeup budget is unlimited. However, the ship has a scale of 4, so you can use up to 4 supporting cast members per episode. So this would be, if you use 2 of them now, then you can still use 2 others later if you like. So unlimited makeup budget, but we do have limited casting budget.
Okay, good. Good news is I'm thinking of one that's a human, but it's basically like John Lovett's really hamming it up.
Okay, and what is the character's name?
I've got some names generated here, so let's go with Archer McLaren.
Okay.
And Carter Allers. A-L-E-R-S.
A-L-E-R-S?
Yeah.
Kurt Ehlers. Okay, both ensigns, both red shirts. Okay, I've entered them into my little supporting cast document. Okay, so we've got 5 of you on the away team. And you guys are ready to beam down to the planet's surface?
Yes.
So as the 5 of you report to the transporter room, the transporter effect washes over you and you reappear on the planet in a city, what was once a city. And you can see that there are jungle plants, vines and trees and bushes that have sort of overtaken the city. And so it's sort of like something out of maybe like a post-apocalyptic movie or something like that. It's you can hear the sounds of animals and the breeze swishing through the plants, but you don't hear any indications of machinery or humanoid activity or anything like that. This was once a dense city, but it's been kind of retaken by the jungle.
Okay, we'll spend some time with the tricorders doing some scans and just get a general read on the planet. If you guys, particularly you, Doctor, want to do some scans to see if there's anything down here that might cause us any harm.
All right, let me get that going.
Okay, Dr. Ozil, give me a reason plus science roll. It'll be difficulty 2 because of the ionic interference in the atmosphere.
4 and 11. 2 successes.
Okay, so you got what you needed. Let's see what else you learn about now that you've gotten down onto the planet's surface. What you notice is you don't see any signs of immediate threats other than what you'd expect from like dense jungle. You know, watch out for snakes and things like that. But you do notice that most of the high technology that it would take to build a city like this seems to have been stripped away. So most of the infrastructure and machinery appears to have been taken away, like scooped up. And what's left is really just kind of garbage. And you also pick up the presence of what look to be enormous launch pads on the outside of the city, but they've now also been overgrown by jungle.
Well, at least it appears we're dealing with some sort of spacefaring race, even if we can't be too sure at this point whether they had warp drive or not, or any sort of interstellar travel. Commander, how are we doing with the security assessment? How do you feel about opening the world up?
I should have that ready in just a moment, sir.
Okay. We'll continue to take a look around then.
Yes, Captain.
Yeah, so as you guys kind of fan out and look around, you don't notice any threats. It's eerily quiet, but there's no you don't get the sense that you are being treated like intruders or anything like that. This just appears to be kind of, it's a little creepy. It's like a ghost town, but you don't see any unexpected threats or anything like that that would lead you to believe that this would be an unsafe location for shore leave.
Okay. Well, if things seem pretty straightforward, let's spread up, take a look in some of these buildings, see what we find.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to, as you guys, are you guys all together, or how's everyone kind of split up?
Hando's next to the captain. Being a red shirt
It
that
really
he is.
depends on how into the tricorder I am in, and if I accidentally get separated.
That's up to you, Dr. Ozil.
The doctor's going to wander off, is he? With his head down.
Don't worry. Don't you like microchip us as part of your military establishment?
Yes, we've injected you with the vaccine with GPS microchips in it.
Yes.
Excellent.
Became pretty standard in the early 21st century.
Yeah. I think we should be just, basically all clustered together.
Yeah.
Two of the security guys are, wearing that red shirt, looking around, to see if there are any threats about. And Hondo's right behind them, standing next to the captain. Yep.
Very protective of you.
I just want to make sure that you're kept safe, Captain. You never know in these strange places what may happen.
Fair enough. Yeah, we'll just carry on wandering around, see if anything catches our eye, or I don't know. Is it worth bringing down more science teams, do you think? Do the ruins look kind of interesting? Do we want to?
It doesn't hurt to bring down more science to get more eyes on it.
Okay. All right, I'll get in touch with the Venture and get some of our sciencey folks to put together some science teams to come down, see if we can do a more detailed scan.
Cool.
More eyes on this, the better.
Yep, absolutely. So you guys have the landing party has beamed down and kind of assessed the nature of the planet. You don't see any kind of threat that would preclude you from bringing more personnel down. So we'll say that Captain Harriman orders a science team, maybe several science teams, to come down and do surveys of most of the major cities on the planet's surface. This will probably require days to do a really thorough scan, but I'll give you guys the advantage that of science teams. So there are your science personnel are kind of combing the planet, conducting thorough scans and sensor sweeps to try and figure out what happened to the civilization that once lived there. Because like I said, most of computer equipment and advanced machinery has all been kind of stripped away. All the things that you would kind of rely on to piece together what might have happened here is noticeably absent. But in the meantime, there's really nothing that would keep you from maybe enjoying a few days of shore leave while the science teams conduct their work.
You okay with that, Commander?
Sure. I mean, we can get that going, all of that. Odds are, I'm not going to get to relax much, as I'm also probably going to be helping the science team look through this stuff.
Well, we'll just
Okay.
make sure that the
Chief?
perimeter is kept safe, and we'll make sure that the science team.
We're going to need a big container, Hondo, so that we can put all the different rocks we find.
Yes, Doctor. Well,
I didn't know you were into rocks.
Doctor, are you into rocks?
This is for the geology. We have to figure out about the sort of cycles of the planet itself.
Fair enough.
And then
We'll get a mixture of the sciences down. We'll get some geologists and some atmospheric scientists and some xeno-archaeologists, and we'll see if we can try and figure out what happened.
And then you hear Hando, saying under his breath, "Damn it! I thought he was a doctor, not a geologist." Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how, if you had to be a doctor, how many electives you have to take of different sorts of science vocations. Apparently, you have to wear a lot of hats in Starfleet.
Fair enough. Absolutely, Doctor. And then he directs some of his personnel to get the necessary containers down. In the meanwhile, he's gonna scope out the area, like going around the perimeter to see if he could find any signs of, any civilization, some rocks or pieces of pottery or anything like that.
Yeah, Commander Han, you kind of walk off by yourself for a little bit, kind of walking through these eerily quiet streets that have been overgrown with jungle life, and you hear this like a scraping sound from above, maybe on like the second story of one of these buildings, these abandoned buildings that surrounds you.
Yeah, he looks up and he takes out his phaser just to be safe.
Yeah, give me a insight plus security roll. And this will be, we'll say difficulty 2.
Okay. I need to beat 14, and I got 4 and 17, so 1 success.
Okay, so you, just out of the corner of your eye, you catch like a shadow moving on the second floor of the building, and you hear it move. There's like a scraping sound, like maybe it kicked over some rubble or debris, but you can't get a good look at it. You're not exactly sure what you saw, but you kind of whirl around with your phaser drawn.
He's going to actually chase after it towards where he heard that sound.
Give me a fitness plus security roll, difficulty 1, to kind of scale up the side of the building.
Made it. 2 successes.
Okay, so you generate another point of momentum. You now have 2 in your bank, and you expertly scramble up the side of this abandoned building. You climb up, and it's like leaps and bounds, and you pull yourself up, and maybe there's like a window here, but it's been completely removed, so the building is open to the elements. And you charge into this building, and you're looking around, and it's silent. You don't see anything for a moment, and then from above, a shadowy figure jumps onto your back.
Oh man. Yeah, he's going to try his judo roll or something and try to get that creature off of his back.
Yeah, you dive into like you're like a panther or something. You're trained in hand-to-hand combat, and you pull this creature off your back and do like your duck and roll, and you come up on like your hands and knees, looming over whatever it was that jumped on your back, and you realize that it's like a small primate-like creature with a long tail, and it kind of wraps its tail like around your shoulder and like climbs up on you and like starts digging through your hair like it's looking for something to eat.
Hey, where'd you come from? And then he looks around to see whether if there are any other, Starfleet officers. And if not, he's gonna search himself to see whether if there's any like biscuits or breadcrumbs or something like that.
Yeah,
And,
there's no other Starfleet officers that saw you come up here. You kind of separated yourself from the rest of the landing party.
Yeah, taking out a little piece of cookie that he had hidden, from the mess hall. He takes it out, breaks up a piece, and gives it to it, and says, "I hope I don't get in trouble with the Prime Directive."
And this primate-like creature, it takes the cookie out of your mouth and kind of munches it, and you realize that it actually has like two tails that kind of split off in different directions. This is definitely not like any, sort of monkey you've ever seen before on Earth.
I wonder if the doctor may find the sample interesting. And then he just, keeps that monkey on his back, and he tries to gently climb down, not to startle the monkey. And he's going to get back to the camp to show to the captain and the doctor what he's found.
The monkey just like, now that you've fed it, it seems to be more than happy to remain on your shoulder.
Nice.
And you're able to skirt down the side of the building and return to the rest of the landing party.
And as he approaches, he lifts up his hand and says, Doctor, look what I found." And he, points at the creature.
I guess I'll get the tricorder on it and check it out.
Yeah, I will make you roll for it as you scan it. This looks to be like some kind of primate, analogous to something that you've seen on Earth and many other M-class worlds. Doesn't seem to pose any kind of serious threat and seems to be rather friendly. But it's got these, these two tails that kind of swing around and kind of curl together. That seems to be its most interesting feature.
It doesn't seem like an intelligent creature, Doctor, but have we seen anything like this before?
Not on this world. Congratulations, you've discovered a first species.
That's my first time. Well, I'm glad. And he sets the monkey down on the ground.
The monkey kind of wraps its tail kind of around your leg. It kind of wants to stick close to you.
Doctor, is it dangerous for this creature to be around me?
Well, obviously, it's just like how certain animals will now default to dealing with humans because they're going to be easy sources of food, like bears.
I see.
So congratulations. Now you have perhaps convinced us that it does not want to live in the sort of old style, and now will want you to start giving it food all the time.
Oh, brother. You think the captain will be unhappy about this?
I have a feeling he will be most furious.
Well, that's not a good answer. All right, buddy, come on. Let's get back. Let's get you back into the jungle out there. And he starts, taking the monkey back to where he's found him.
So you're trying to convince the monkey to go back up the building where you found it?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a presence plus command roll. And it will be difficulty 2.
Only one success.
So the monkey clearly does not want to leave your side, and you're kind of like setting it up on the building, trying to like kind of give it a nudge upward, and it turns around toward you with what looks to be, if you didn't know any better, you would swear that this was like a pouting, sad look with these big, watery eyes, like it's on the verge of tears.
Oh man, it's hard. I mean, who knew that parting with a strange monkey in a different world would be so difficult? I better fess up to the captain. And he says, "Come on, let's go," and then introduce you to the captain.
Yeah, so the monkey like immediately, like gleefully jumps back onto your shoulder.
Nice. Yeah, he takes the monkey to the captain.
Hopefully the captain just doesn't tell you that since you ruined it, he wants you to kill it. Set the phaser on kill, Commander.
I see you
Captain.
found some of the local wildlife.
Yes, sir. It seems to be one of the wildlife out here. It doesn't seem like an intelligent creature. Well, semi-intelligent, perhaps. Would it be against our prime directive to interact with this creature, Captain?
Well, provided it appears non-sentient, I don't see why not.
Well, I'm just relieved to hear that, Captain.
Is it warp capable?
I don't think so.
Tricky one then.
Yeah. He looks at that creature and says, "You're not warp capable, are you?" And looks at the tails.
It just kind of makes a squeaky sound at you.
Could we? Is it safe for us to have this creature around? Do you mind, Captain?
I think any addition to your security team would be most welcome, Commander.
Yes, Captain. Thank you. And he takes the monkey and sets the monkey on his shoulder again.
And for the time being, the monkey seems ecstatic to be there, just taking in the sights and the landing party. And so you feel like it is pretty safe for shore leave, and it's going to take several days for the science teams to conduct their analysis of the planet and gather all the data that they need to. And even in their off hours, even though these science teams are going to be combing through these cities, conducting their scans during their off-duty time, they would be welcome to partake in shore leave as well, as long as Captain Harriman opens that up as an option for everybody. And so, assuming that's okay with the captain, then you guys can do a scene doing whatever you would do for recreation on this pristine jungle world.
I don't see why not. We'll open it up to limited shore leave. We'll keep a certain number of people on board ship, and have department heads produce some sort of a schedule for rotating their teams between the planet and the ship. We'll make sure we've got some security guards on hand as well, just in case, if that's okay, Commander.
As you wish, Captain. And Hando takes a couple of guys and makes the round, around the perimeter to make sure that there are no, dangerous creatures lurking nearby. And at the same time, he's, keeping his eyes open for any signs of clues that may lead him to understand what has happened, non-scientifically, of course.
Yeah, so Commander Han remains vigilant, even as the captain gives the order to allow for shore leave. So my question for the three of you is, given a couple of hours on this planet, what would you do to relax or blow off some steam?
I think Captain Harriman would probably take a hike, because he's quite often sitting down in the command chair or in his quarters or whatever. Doesn't get much of a chance to do a lot of walking. So I think he'd probably get his walking boots on and take a good walk around. Maybe even get away from somebody for a while.
Yeah, so there's plenty of opportunity to do that. The weather here is, humid but comfortable for humans, and you feel like just getting out into the forest and doing some exploring and getting your mind off things might do you good because of the stressful burdens of command. Absolutely. What about Dr. Ozil and Commander Han?
I think Ozil will just be along the ways of just checking to see what other fun things are here. So it's like, yeah, if I wanted to relax, I would have done something else, right? So yeah, I guess it's going to be along the lines of just finding out all sorts of fun relics we can find here.
Oh, okay. What kind of things, what sort of relics would Dr. Ozil seek out?
Oh man, imagine trying to find out what is considered to be like stuff they would do for recreation would be fun.
Okay, well, I don't have a good answer for that. What do you think? If you had to guess,
it's going to be along the lines of like us looking at like stuff from like antiquity and just be like, okay, I could assume here is that there was a cloth of rope of some kind used to pull this thing. Because these wheels spin. So odds are they would pull this to entertain themselves by walking around, and this thing would follow.
Like a wagon?
Perhaps like a wagon.
Okay, yeah. So you're looking. You find like.
But we don't know it's a wagon.
Yeah, you absolutely find like a playground, like a recreational park or something like that, and it reminds you of like a schoolyard from Earth, and you find something that resembles nothing more than a wagon. Yeah, and you can almost sort of, as the wind kind of blows through this park, you get the sense like you can almost hear the sounds of children running and playing, but it's been centuries since anything like that has actually happened here. And what about Commander Han? What does he do to relax?
Commander Han isn't really relaxing, because it's his duty to make sure that, people, the crew are kept safe, and this is an alien planet. So he's keeping himself very alert and, securing the perimeter. However, being surrounded by this fresh green and, beautiful, nature, he mentally he's relaxing a little bit, and as he's walking around, you hear him like um, like rhyming, and he pulls out the paper that he's been carrying around ever since that the talent show, and then he's scribbling down a few stuff. And so far, he looks around and makes sure no one's looking, and he starts reading what he's written down. He goes, riding on the bridge like the Klingon Ridge. I'm kicking any intruders like them squeaky old rudders. Think twice, challenge and venture, my brother, because you'll be knocked down like the theory of ether. And then he, he nods to himself and crumples that paper and puts it back in his pocket. And, he continues on doing that for the rest of the session.
So as you put that paper back in your pocket, and the monkey kind of scrambles down off your shoulder and grabs it, and then tries to run off.
Hey! You can't do that. I've been working on that for I don't know how long. And then he chases after him.
Give me a fitness plus security roll to see if you're able to keep up with this incredibly agile monkey.
1 success.
Okay, I'm going to. So yes, you are able to keep up with the monkey, but I'm going to spend 2 points of momentum, or 2 points of threat, to create a complication. As you stumble into a bit of a clearing in the forest, and you see what looks to be almost like they're like sea anemones. These big plants but they, I mean, obviously you're not underwater. You're out in the open air, and they kind of these weird plants kind of open up suddenly, and poof, there's a cloud of spores that enters into the air around you. And I need you to make a difficulty 3 fitness plus command roll as you immediately start to feel your lungs fill with these strange spores, and you start to like feel like you're losing consciousness.
Okay, I'm gonna need to use a momentum.
Okay.
And let's see. He's like 2 successes.
Okay, so you fall unconscious, and you start to hallucinate, and that will be until you receive medical attention. You will continue to kind of hallucinate. It's almost like you're experiencing a dream from your past, Commander Han. What's like a traumatic or memorable experience from Commander Han's past that would come to his mind in a situation like this?
Long ago, he served aboard another ship, and there was an occasion when one of the important person was abducted. Actually, he served aboard USS Trenton when it was boarded by hostile Romulans, and under the orders of his senior tactical officer, he left his usual post to escort a Vulcan scientist to safety. So, I mean, although the attack was repelled, the whole experience left Hando with certain regret because there were so many casualties. And he finds himself in that situation again, where he's trying to decide whether to stay in his post or to or basically refuse to take the orders from his commanding officer, or have him reconsider, or just to not to say anything and follow that order.
Yeah, so let's so in this time in the Star Trek timeline, you wouldn't know what Romulans look like because they hadn't seen Romulans yet. But so let's change that story to Klingons. Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So you feel like there's like a Klingon. Suddenly, there's a Klingon invasion. There's Klingon warriors who are charging in around you, and you feel torn between, staying at your post or saving this Vulcan scientist. And so you can see the Vulcan scientist is about to be overrun by these Klingon warriors. What do you do?
He throws himself at the Klingon warriors, trying to kick them and use his phasers to vaporize one of them.
Okay, give me as you charge at these invading Klingon warriors that seem to have come out of nowhere. Give me a daring plus security roll.
Okay. 2 successes.
Okay, so we cut back to the playground where Dr. Ozil is like looking at this wagon-like contraption, and suddenly, out of nowhere, Miguel, Commander Han comes charging at you, barrels into you, and you can see that his eyes are kind of bloodshot, and his skin looks mottled, and he's all covered in sweat, and he seems to be screaming about invading Klingons, and he attacks you out of nowhere. So, Miguel, I need Dr. Ozil to give me an opposed daring plus security roll, and you need 2 successes.
Goodness. Let me get this going. 19 and 19.
Okay, so
I get knocked down.
yes.
Our friend went crazy.
Yong, I need you to give me roll a number of d6s that's equal to 1 plus your security score.
Oh boy. 1 plus. So that's 6 of them. Here we go. Oh man, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 6s and 1 1.
5 6s and 1 1. Okay, so that's 6 points of damage or 6 points of stress, and it knocks Dr. Ozil to the ground, as Dr. Ozil is just completely caught unaware by this. And so
I take an injury too because it's more than 5.
So yes, you can either avoid the injury if you like, or you can take the injury. It's up to you.
I'm taking an injury. This is going to be funny.
Okay. So, Yong, go ahead and describe for me how you would dispatch this doctor, whom you believe for all the world to be a Klingon warrior.
Yeah, he goes up there and he delivers his famous left hook kick to the jaw, and then as he's about to fall down, grabs his arm and flips him onto the ground, and he hears a crack.
And yes, so absolutely, Dr. Ozil is down for the count, injured and unconscious. And Yong, I'll have you repeat the, what did I say it was? Command, presence plus, or fitness plus command, difficulty 3, to see if you can snap out of this hallucination. You have 1 point of momentum. You can also pay me stress if you like.
Okay.
Or pay me threat.
I'm gonna pay you a threat, and I will use one of the momentum also.
Okay.
So 4 dice, right?
Yep.
Okay. 3 successes.
Okay. So as you are positive that you have just taken out one of these attacking Klingon warriors, and you're standing over the unconscious form of this Klingon, and suddenly the hallucination starts to fade, and for a moment you think it's Dr. Ozil, and then the Klingon image reasserts itself, and you shake your head, and the hallucination ends completely, and you realize you and the doctor are the only ones here standing in the middle of this abandoned playground.
What? And he kneels down and checks on the doctor. Dr. Ozil! Dr. Ozil!
He is alive but unconscious. You think you can probably, if you render some kind of first aid, you could wake him back up, and that would be difficulty 1, daring plus medicine roll.
And then he uses his communicator and says, Captain! Captain! And he tries to reach out to other personnel nearby.
Yeah, Captain Harriman, you hear someone coming in on your communicator.
Okay, I'll answer it. I presume it's the chief.
Yes.
Captain, this is Commander Han. The doctor is down. Dr. Ozil, he's not responsive. I think I'm responsible for his injuries.
Okay, contact the ship. Get them to beam you up immediately. I'll follow.
Yes, Captain. And he's administering first aid at the same time, and then he taps the communicator and says, "2 to beam up, Dr. Ozil and myself." And could I do first aid?
Yes, go ahead and do that. Daring plus medicine roll.
Daring medicine.
Difficulty 1.
All right, 2 successes.
Okay, so you get a point of momentum. You now have 2 back in the bank, and you feel that as you just do a quick medical scan of the doctor, it doesn't look like his life's in danger. It's just like you knocked him out cold, and the transporter effect washes over you, and you reappear in the sick bay of the Venture.
Ooh, classy. Site-to-site beaming. Dangerous.
Doctor, can you hear me? He leans over to Dr. Ozil.
Yeah, Dr. Ozil, who's now on a bio bed, your eyes kind of flutter open, and you've got a splitting headache.
You better hope we've got other doctors on board.
I think Miguel is muted if he's speaking right now.
Oh, yes. I was about to say, did you get the number on that truck?
Doctor, I don't know what came over me. I found myself being surrounded by Klingons. I was back in the bridge of USS Trenton, and I don't know what happened. I was chasing the monkey and these strange sea anemone. Um, something must have happened, Doctor.
Yes, you kicked me. That's what happened. We're going with the facts first.
Well, there's no denying that. I'm sorry, Doctor.
It's fine. I don't really expect to be hit like that, you know. Oh, so, nice kick. Excuse me. Let me get a pack of ice.
In any case, I don't think that the site down there is safe. The plantation that I came across, it opened up, and I felt some spores around me. And the next thing that I remember was I was back in the bridge of USS Trenton being attacked. And when I fought back, I didn't realize what I was doing, but when I came to my senses, I found you on the ground.
Uh-huh. Yes, that would be very bad. As I said, give me a moment. I need to make sure nothing is broken.
Yeah, Dr. Ozil, there would be, other medical staff in the sick bay, and they would be tending to you. And they, a nurse tells you, Doctor, it looks like you took quite a bump, but we don't think that there is any serious damage, and it looks like you'll make a full recovery. And she gives you a hypo spray, and you hear a hiss, and you immediately start to feel a little bit better, and your head's clearing.
Okay,
and so
good.
this is a new scene, so you've got your stress back, and you've been cured of your injured status.
Okay, good. I'm on shore leave. Give me another hit. Well, that clears up everything. That's good. Yeah, you can let the captain know I'm fine. Okay, Hando?
Will do, Doctor. Should I place myself in quarantine or something?
You probably need to get a blood sample. The nurses are going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm afraid I could be a risk to the captain if I attacked you, and if I was under this influence, then who knows? I'm not exactly sure whether if it's safe for me to be out there.
It's fine. Do not worry, Hando. Just, if you wish, you could probably just give yourself a security escort so you don't go around doing that, and they'll be fine.
Yes, Doctor. And Hando steps out of there, and he requests a couple of security personnel to keep an eye on him, and he heads over to the captain to give him his briefing.
Yeah, so the captain is still down on the planet. So you could while you're in the sick bay, you could contact him via communicator if you wanted to.
Yeah, he goes, "Beep. Captain, this is Hando."
Yes, Chief.
Captain, I have attacked Dr. Ozil. I believe I was hallucinating. I believe I was surrounded by Klingons, Captain.
Is the doctor okay?
There is a plant that I came across. I believe the spores may be hallucinogenic.
Okay, I'll warn the rest of the team that are down here. If you have a description of the plant, can you please send that down to us? Make sure we avoid it in future.
Captain?
Hey,
Captain.
Paul, I'm having a hard time hearing you, Paul. It's like your volume's really low.
Oh, sorry. I'll have to walk to the back door then. Can you hear me now?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's better.
Okay, slightly out of range. What was I saying? Yes. In the meantime, I think it's best that you take some time in your own quarters, rest up, and maybe recover from whatever affected you. Yeah.
Yes, Captain.
Cool. So we will cut that scene there. After a few hours more, Captain Harriman, you receive a report from one of the science teams that they did manage to find some technology left behind in one of the cities on the planet. And to figure out exactly what it does and how it functions, they suggest beaming it on board into one of the cargo bays where it can be further studied.
Okay. I'll allow that, but I'd like to place some security guards outside the cargo bay and restrict access for the moment.
Yeah, we'll say this is Lieutenant Talasa, a Vulcan woman who is the chief science officer. She's the one kind of overseeing this machinery, and she says, "Aye, Captain, we will set up appropriate security precautions and plan to beam the equipment into Cargo Bay 1.
Very well.
So what happens next, guys?
How long is it going to take for the chief to recover?
It's fine. I just have to wear that. I just give me a moment. I'll be fine, Captain. The next time we're going to be fine in case Klingons do attack. I'll just say that.
Well, Doctor, maybe you and I should train together, just in case something like this happen in the future. Mayhaps we may benefit from sparring against one another sometime, after this mission is over.
Mm-hmm. Yes, don't worry about it. I just need to really relax here. Okay.
So, what does that device look like?
You would have to go to the cargo bay to...
Yeah, right. So he heads over there to the cargo bay.
So when you get there, you see that one of the security officers, we'll say one of the security officers you just created. Let's see, what did we say their names were? I wrote them down. I promise. Archer McLaren. Ensign McLaren is standing in the doorway to the cargo bay, and as you approach Commander Han, he kind of steps in front of the doors and says, "I'm sorry, sir. Captain's orders. I am only allowed to allow people to enter with express authorization from the captain."
Certainly. Let me contact the captain, and he sends a page to the captain.
What is it, Chief?
Captain, it's Hando. I wanted to see whether if I could examine the device that we beamed aboard.
Oh, the science teams already have that in hand. Is there any particular reason?
I just wanted to make sure that it's free of any vegetations. I came across what looked like a sea anemone, and I believe that may be the reason for my erratic behavior.
Off the moment, I'd like to keep access to that cargo bay restricted to essential personnel.
Captain, you're breaking up. And then he looks at the communicator and taps it a couple of times.
Dang
Captain,
it.
Sorry. I was just saying I'd like to keep access restricted to essential personnel only for the moment. But let me talk to the head of the science teams examining the artifacts, and we'll see if we can make an exception for you.
Yes, Captain.
And after you close your communicator, Commander Han, you see that Ensign McLaren seems to be watching you really closely.
What is it, Ensign? Is everything okay?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Everything is shipshape. Was there anything else, sir?
Nothing else. He turns back and goes back to his quarters. And along the way, he's thinking, I wonder if that monkey still has my paper.
He's gonna be like, I gotta get it back. Sets the blaster on full.
Yep. So he goes back to his quarters to think on what just happened.
Okay. What's Dr. Ozil doing?
Once I get really fine, I think I'm gonna be like, anything interesting happened while I was gone?
Yeah, one of your nurses replies, well, the rumors going around that some kind of technology was brought up from the planet's surface, but everything, luckily no one else seems to have had any run-ins with those strange plants that Commander Han encountered.
Yeah. To make a note, he's gonna mean right, roundhouse kick. So be careful about that. So yeah, I guess I'll go see about the captain about that if I need to be needed or anything about that.
Yeah, you've been given a clean bill of health, and you should be ready to report back to duty or report back to shore leave, whatever you want to do.
I was still on duty. I guess now it's time to enjoy shore leave. It's gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna milk this as much as possible. I'm off duty, but I am not. But do I really wish to get a roundhouse kick down there, or stay up here and get roundhouse kick? Tough choices.
I'm a little concerned that I've got a doctor who likes his drugs too much.
More along the lines of the doctor wants to go to a place where he's not going to have any sort of dangers whatsoever for now. Which, might be understandable. Okay.
So after a little while, Hando comes out of his quarters and requests the captain's permission to beam down once more.
I think I prefer it if you stayed on the ship at the moment, Commander.
Yes, Captain.
You're not on any of the rotations for the for shore leave at this point.
Someone's in trouble.
And where is Captain Harriman while this is going on?
I guess he's sort of out and about around the ship, doing his usual sort of thing. Meetings. I don't know. Maybe going to have a look and see what's in the cargo bay. Who knows?
So yeah, as Captain Harriman, as you approach the doors to the cargo bay, the ensign McLaren steps out of your way and allows you to enter without a word. The doors swish open and swish closed behind you.
Cool. I'll have a chat with the science team, see what they've found so far.
Yeah, so they have been, they've brought up several pieces of heavy machinery, and they are working on connecting it and figuring out exactly what its function is.
Excellent. Well, keep me apprised if you find anything interesting.
Lieutenant Tasai, or is it Tasai or is it Talasa says, yes, Captain, we will keep you updated regularly with our progress.
Good.
And we cut back to either Commander Han or Dr. Ozil.
All right. I think it's going to be Ozil's just like, okay, is there anything that really needs to be done in terms of sick bay, like people roughhousing, and it's like, oh no, or is it all good?
Things are good. There are several science teams still on the planet's surface. There's some crew who are taking regular turns going down for shore leave, exploring the planet, enjoying the beaches and forests, things like that. But there does not seem to be any real sense of crisis or anything like that.
Oh, that is very good to hear. This is like man, it's basically like a sort of a reprieve. Good. I guess I'll go check out on the science team on the ship, make sure everything they're looking at is good.
Which science team?
The one that's looking at the stuff they brought up.
Oh, yeah. So as you make your way toward that cargo bay, you are stopped by Ensign McLaren. And he says, I'm sorry, Doctor, but only authorized personnel are allowed to enter the cargo bay at this time.
Uh-huh. I assume is that the captain would have done that. Is he busy again, Ensign?
I wouldn't know, sir. All I know is I have my orders. And unless Captain Harriman tells me specifically to let you through, then I'm afraid I can't allow that. And I'm afraid, and he kind of looks at maybe like a data storage pad or something, you're not on the approved list.
Uh-huh. And when is this list updated?
I'm just doing what I'm told, sir.
You got to be careful about that. There's an older phrase that they don't like anymore, which is just following orders. Be careful about saying that, okay? I'm going to go talk with the captain. See about that.
Yeah, I think Captain Harriman, you're in a meeting.
Yes, I am at the moment. What can I do
Doctor?
for you, Doctor?
Well then, Captain, who are part of the approved people to actually handle with the, well, suffice to say, the recent discovery?
I have a science team assigned to it, Doctor. Unless you have a particular reason to be there, I don't see any particular.
You make me do a lot of the science stuff. I do, you know.
I'm thinking your place may well be in sickbay at this point.
As you can see here, I'm sure you read the reports. I'm fine. The nurse is fine. The other doctor confirmed that.
And I'm sure you have your duties there, the same as I do with the rest of the crew.
Uh-huh. All right, then. Well, then, I'll just head back to sick bay. Just be like, well, nurse, did we check out what's up with Hando's blood? Any sort of lingering trace?
Yeah, as you get back to sick bay, it seems that the hallucinogenic properties of those spores don't have any real long-term consequences. You think that, it depends on a person's metabolism, but it's generally not going to last more than a few minutes and doesn't appear to pose any kind of ongoing threat, at least at the low exposure that Commander Han had.
What do you mean low exposure? Like, if someone actually is with a prolonged periods, what may happen?
Give me an insight plus medicine roll, difficulty 2.
Right. Let's see here. Insight is 10. I have medicine 5. I got 2 successes.
So you think that these spores have a similar effect as many, sort of psychotropic drugs, and so you have absolutely no doubt that Commander Han probably very much believed that he was reliving some kind of important memory to him. You think that these spores have a similar sort of psychedelic, psychotropic kind of effect, and like one dose probably isn't going to have any lingering effects, but the more you use it or the longer you're exposed to it, it could have prolonged, more serious neurological effects.
Oh, great. Oh, great. Did we put in a sort of mask mandate?
No, there probably should be a mask mandate if you're.
I'm just going to be along the lines of I am out cold, and the first thing we did after Hando. Great. I am just talking with the nurse who's like, yeah, you're the first one to propose that, aren't you? Let's go get that going. I'm going to yell at the captain to get this approved right away. Unless you want to get the crew down there to start getting like psychoactive trips and all that.
Yes, you can get Captain Harriman back on the communicator and see if he's concerned about your findings.
Captain, I just sent you the information on the blood taken of Hando, all of this. Apparently, it only lasts for 3 or so minutes until it dissipates, but prolonged exposure could cause much more serious side effects and do things that would be perhaps a lot more worse. Due to the fact is we're sitting down people without proper safety equipment and all of this. May we please replicate some masks for the away team and the people on shore leave?
Do you consider these spores to be possibly deadly?
Perhaps not right away, but odds are is these people are not going to be truly in control of their actions. So what's not to say they might have, say, a violent episode.
Okay, send your recommendations to the science teams then, and we'll see that they're properly equipped in future.
Okay, please. I swear there better not be one of those Talarians that are against masks.
And have you checked on Commander Han recently?
He's still fine. He hasn't had any recent breaks. I'm actually about to go talk with him, see about him and all that.
Very well.
Yeah. So I get that done, go over and check out with Han. I'm like, okay, right. I have bad news.
Yeah.
The replicators cannot replicate this thing you called spam back in the day.
Yeah, when you enter his quarter, he says, "Please come on in." But you see him like sitting on his desk with both of his hands holding his head, going like, "Oh man," and he's like wrecked with guilt, and he looks at you coming in and says, "Doctor, I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry."
It is fine. No worries.
No, I'm a security officer. My duty is to keep you safe, but to have attacked you and struck you in such way.
Yes,
no
you know what happened? It was
thing.
because you basically took some sort of psychoactive hallucinogen due to that playing around with that animal you found.
Yes, it was my lack of wisdom. But doctor, are all crew members back on the ship? Because I don't think it's safe to have a shore leave in that on that planet.
Yes, I just recommended to the captain that we need to have a mask mandate. There might be that one Tellarite that will try to argue against it. Always a Tellarite for some reason, Hondo. Just
Sure
like to
enough.
argue.
Sure enough, Doctor. But I think it'll be safer to cancel the shore leave on that planet altogether. There's such a precious little that we know about the place, and that
Well, I assume is people are going to be taking a lot more precautions, especially because now the science team knows what to look for. We were able to analyze your blood, and you're fine. You can get around and this sort of quarantine, so you're good to return.
not to be an alarmist, but if these vegetations are all over the place, then whatever that drove me to hallucinate may be airborne. It
Yes,
could
hence
be
why we're introducing a mask.
right. It may
You
be
realize
too.
that the pollen may not be able to go through the fibers of the mask here. I
Yes,
shall have the
doctor.
nurse show you about the ones we have on hand.
Yes, doctor. But however, we've been down there for quite some time, and my fear is that those people may already been exposed to it.
Yes. If anything, let me show you about how it was supposed to be working when it entered into your bloodstream. It apparently gives you an immediate reaction, as certain other things do. So what we can assume is when you breathe that in, it went in through your nose, through the capillaries in there, and directly into your bloodstream, hence, which then went straight to your brain, and hence why it started acting that quickly.
So at this point, Commander Han, your door chime sounds.
Come in.
And the doors swish open, and Aja, the Orion, who in our last session was just made an acting part of the crew, steps in. And you also might recall, Yong, that your character was able to establish some kind of rapport with her. She used to be part of the Orion Syndicate, and she helped you to put together some security measures for your previous mission when you were trying to track down one of the bosses of the Syndicate that Aja used to work for. So she steps into your quarters.
Hey, Aja, what brings you here?
She kind of sizes you up, both of you, and she says, well, I heard about some stuff that happened on the planet. How are you guys feeling?
He's totally overwhelmed with guilt right now. No matter what the doctor says, he's failed his crew once again, and that's just driving him crazy.
I mean, to be honest, if there was really a Klingon, I don't think he would have failed us. He'd probably not be able to eat solid food for a while, too. So just relax, Commander. What brings you over here, Aja?
Do you guys know anything about what's going on in Cargo Bay 1?
Captain is having it highly quarantined. Only approved personnel, all of that.
Yes, it's quite odd, isn't it? I mean, Captain Harriman's fairly open to having us examine these strange things. I've never seen him so, I don't know, so adamant about not having anyone else examine this device.
So neither of you have seen it either?
I
Yeah,
have.
especially because we're senior officers and we should be able to have access to that. I mean, it's closed off by security, and our security chief can't even access it.
Yeah, Lieutenant McLaren was very adamant about this. I've never seen him behave that way before. And wait, I don't think I've received the order from the captain, because I would be the first person to know about these things.
Yeah, that's damn peculiar.
I don't
I
know.
really don't like how you phrase that, Asha. This is going to be something bad, is it? Is the captain doing something that's not about this whole thing, you believe?
You know, Captain was down there on the planet also. Could it be that he's also affected? Is something making him very paranoid?
I have noticed strange behavior not only from the captain, but some other members of the crew.
Doctor, it may not be just me. It may not be an isolated incident. I'm afraid all the crew members who were down there are exposed to this psychotropic effect that you mentioned.
It might also be something else too, Commander. We don't know. If anything, I'm going to submit and get everyone that was on the medical team on the surface to do a blood test. We'll go check that out. I guess since now you got a clean bill of health, Commander, I suggest you try checking out and making sure everything is fine on this ship. And Aja, I just wave my hands. And I'm like, I have no idea. What do you think we should do to make sure everything is fine here?
I will request the non-essential, off-duty security members who have been down in that planet to be checked out at the sick bay, Doctor. And if they receive clean bill of health, oh boy.
Yes. Don't worry. For some reason, the captain decided to have sick bay right by the kindergarten wing.
Aja says, frankly, guys, I don't know who we can trust right now.
I'll just start with the immediate. Everyone within this room is fine, correct?
I know I feel okay.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. Well,
I mean, unless you want me to get a piece of copper wire, draw of our blood, put it in a petri dish, get the copper wire heated, and stab it, I think we should be fine.
I'd feel a whole lot better if I knew what was going on in that cargo bay.
Yes.
let's find out what's happening over there.
Yes. If anything, I'll just go ahead and get that going.
How do we get in?
Well, there's either two ways. Either to override the captain's orders, which is a big thing where we can just go along and check that out. Usually takes a long time to go through the library and figure it out. Or the other way is just to get the ensign that's guarded the door basically distracted.
Well, going behind the captain's back is tantamount to a treason. I think we should go and speak to the captain. Have you seen him? Ever since we got back?
He dismissed my claims, especially because he only wants specific science officers in that room.
Yes, but have we checked him out? Is he okay?
He hasn't reported to sick bay.
Let's go and speak to the captain together.
Okay. You get it going, check it out, to the captain's quarters.
Yeah, we could ask him directly. I mean, as they're walking over there, he's going. We could ask him directly why he chose to restrict us from examining that device.
Let's see here. One of us is a chief medical officer. The other is the chief security officer, who probably should have been in charge of this. And the third one is the one that just brought up about how crazy the seal seems.
Yeah, so where do you guys want to confront Captain Harriman?
Where is Captain Harriman? Have you seen him?
No, I haven't actually. Aja says I haven't seen him since he came back from the surface. He's been unavailable in meetings, checking out the cargo bay.
Good question. Where am I?
Right behind us, apparently.
Yeah. He pages the captain. Captain, this is Hando. Han.
Oh, do I get to choose one of those little sort of wall communicator thingies?
Okay, just make sure when you flip it, you don't drop it and crack it into a million pieces.
What's the problem, Chief?
Just wanted to talk to you in person, Captain. Do you have a moment, sir?
I'm really busy at the moment, Chief. Can we perhaps meet up a little later? In the meantime, I'm sure you and the doctor have your duties to attend to.
What time would you like to meet us, Captain?
I'll get back to you on that one, Chief.
Captain, where exactly are you? It is a standard procedure to, as a security officer, to know the whereabouts of the ship's captain at all times. It is my duty, sir.
I think you're muted, Paul, if you're speaking.
Now, this is the point the captain just says, well, I'm the captain and I can say no to that.
So Aja steps up and starts pushing buttons on the wall communicator. She says, "There's some kind of interference."
Well then, I go over to Aja and start messing around with the copper wiring behind the panel. See what we can get.
Yeah, give me an insight plus engineering roll, difficulty 1.
Oh my God! Is it a doctor taking the ship apart? What could possibly go wrong?
Yes, I pull out a big spool of copper wire, and I got a success.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously you're not an engineering expert, but it looks like the communicator is functioning just fine. In fact, Aja, who's kind of a tinkerer and does have some expertise in mechanical stuff, says, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. Either there's something wrong on the captain's end or he just cut us off. And I don't like either of those options.
Yes, but the big problem, Aja, is that Harriman tends to be very much cold with everyone. But he's unusually cold. That is the big problem.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps people at arm's length, but he's never hung up on a member of the crew before, so far as I know.
And also, as far as I'm concerned, it is my duty that he's assigned to me to make sure that the security team knows where the captain is at all times.
Oh, right. Well, then we go with the protocol checked. In case the crew is being threatened, what I'm going to need is to get the people that have been assigned. Commander, you still have access to the security personnel that have been there, so I'm going to want you to give me a blood test. I'm going to go ahead, pull some strings with the science team, see if I can find out who's been sent there, and get theirs, and see what's going on.
So,
Doctor.
So, Dr. Ozil, you're asking for blood tests from everyone that's been on the planet?
Technically, yeah, but what I'm going to do is basically try to see if there's anything off with the people that's been assigned to whatever was put in that room first. So, try to hide it behind paperwork and bureaucracy. What role can I do for bureaucracy?
Well, I'll tell you what, as you ask for any of those people who've been in the cargo bay to report to sick bay, they all just flatly refuse and tell you to take it up with the captain because they're so busy.
This is very odd. Well, Aja,
and even the biggest problem is one of them was the hypochondriac. He'd be happy to go into sickbay for all of his worries to be true. This is damn peculiar. You're right, Aja.
Hando, requests all the security personnel who's off duty to report to the sickbay for, blood tests and medical scan. And at the same time, he requests a couple of guys who were not sent down to the planet in the security team to join him.
Yeah, so you get a handful of your security officers to report to you, but most of them also just say, we've been assigned duties from the captain, and we can't report right now.
Let's go and speak to Lieutenant Tsai. And she was staying here back on the ship, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go and check with Lieutenant Tsai to see whether if she knows anything has been going on.
Meanwhile, Aja, let's go look up the blueprints of the ship. We're going to find a different way to get in.
Yeah, so first we'll cut to engineering as Commander Han goes down there to talk to Lieutenant Tsai, the chief engineer. And she's been really busy with the engines, has not been down to the planet, but she remembers from the previous mission where Commander Han was the one who convinced her to overcome her stage fright to get up and recite poetry. And so she's happy to give you a few minutes. She says, how can I help you, Commander?
Tsai, have you noticed anything strange?
Yes, now that you mention it, I've heard that the captain has ordered the transport of some kind of alien equipment into a cargo bay, and I've not been consulted on it. I was not asked, and I have not been invited to examine this equipment. Usually I would assume that if some kind of strange piece of machinery was being brought on board the ship, that the chief engineer would be consulted. I have not been.
Also, the fact that an alien object or alien technology is actually brought on board to the ship, I mean, that concerns me a great deal. I mean, you're the engineer. Have you heard anything regarding what this device is?
I'm afraid not.
I see. Well, keep a close eye on your crew members too. Make sure that they're not assigned to a special assignment directly by the captain.
Do you have any concerns that I should be aware of, Commander?
Well,
He's the chief engineer. If we can get several of the officers together.
yeah. Yeah, he says, do you want to come with me for a moment? Let's speak to the doctor and, let's discuss what's happening.
Okay, so yeah, Tsai joins you back up in sickbay where Aja and Dr. Ozil are going through the blueprints of the venture, and you do figure out that some Jeffries tubes and vents would grant you access to Cargo Bay 1 if you're unable to get through the main doors.
Yeah, we're not going through the main doors. More importantly, here's what we're going to need to do, Aja. Over here, where I'm marking, there's going to be sorts of sensors. If we can just get that thing to just loop, we can be able to get in there without alerting the security. That is not Hando.
Well, also, I recall the time that Aja was able to beam us in extremely difficult situation.
Yes, except transporters are going to be setting off so many alarms on a ship, especially when you're transporting within your own ship.
True enough.
So it's going to be requiring a bit of getting our hands dirty. So just looking through here, you brought in the chief engineer?
Yes,
Lieutenant
Tsai is
here.
All right. As we're all three of the high-ranking officers on the ship, it seems to be is that Aja has brought up, and it confirms with my suspicion, is that the captain is behaving irrationally, not consulting us at all. But this is more importantly, we believe is that there is something off with the planet here, and that certain key personnel have been not going through the proper chain of command, and instead going straight to the captain for all sorts of orders and such.
And we cannot exactly locate the captain. We're not certain where he is right now. He's been basically avoiding us, saying that he has a meeting. But meeting with whom?
Yes. Well, the more concerning part is that there are certain instances in Starfleet protocol where we can countermand the captain and take control of the ship if we're all in agreement that the ship and the crew are in danger.
Considering the circumstances and the fact that the captain is not in midst of a battle or any such, I do concur, Doctor.
Yes. Well, the big thing is that I'm sure, as Desai is going to say, is we only have conjectural evidence. We don't have any sort of physical evidence. Hence why we're going to be breaking another of Starfleet's protocols and checking to see what is behind that room.
Well, I believe the captain not reporting or communicating to us what sort of meeting he's having or his whereabouts, that's actually against regulation and plenty of reason for alarm. So
Yes, but it could also be other things as well. The captain has a lot more free leeway on a ship than would be on, say, I don't know, a space station, especially out here in the frontier.
well, I'm ready to be reprimanded. I feel guilty enough for striking you, Doctor.
I swear to goodness, if you keep talking about that again, Hondo, you are gonna then feel guilty for something else.
Well,
So yes,
I would actually feel better if you hit me at some point. But any regards, yeah,
no, no, don't bring that up again. Oh my goodness, Hondo. Oh my goodness. Okay, so
the guilt, it's driving me crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So what I am going to do is just get that going. So for the Jeffries tubes, you feel like you want to get your redemption, Hondo? You want to go down there?
I am ready.
All right. I guess I'll go down with you. Since Aja gets that going. Asai, can you make sure everything is fine on the other side? You've been awfully quiet.
Yeah, Tasai says she will be monitoring your frequencies.
Yes.
And I will warn you if I notice anything that might pose a threat to you. I think that we need answers, and I think those answers are likely in the cargo bay.
And if we do find the answers, just get set in motion to get the ship under lockdown and all of that. I do believe we can actually get the prefix codes and shut the ship down.
Yes, of course. I can handle that so long as the prefix codes have not been changed. But I think we need to know what's in that cargo bay before we start doing anything like that.
Yes. Well, I'm just assuming for the worst possible scenario. So just get engineering locked down, all of that. We'll check that out. So
yes, I will go to engineering so as not to raise any suspicions, but I will be monitoring your frequencies.
okay, good.
Also, Lieutenant Tasai, see if you could get visual images of what's happening in the cargo bay. And while you're at it, see if you could locate the captain, the location of captain's communicator.
Yes, so I have conducted some internal sensor sweeps, and of the cargo bay, and they were all reflected back, almost as if there's some kind of dampening field that's been set up in there.
I see. Well,
yes, that sounds very ominous, doesn't it, gang?
Yes.
So let's go into the Jeffries tubes.
Okay, cool.
And do our sort of cool hacking check to make sure we can bypass the sorts of internal sensors in there and not set up an alarm.
Yeah, that sounds like tactical or security kind of thing. Commander Han, can you give me a difficulty 2, we'll say reason plus security roll?
Okay, hold on.
I'll be assisting.
Yeah, sure.
Letting him know what sort of stuff he needs to rip out.
Yep, and Ozil, you can assist. You've got 2 points of momentum at your disposal if you like.
All right, I got to beat 12. Here we go. I'll use a momentum.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, I got 1 on the dot. 2 failures.
But you got a 1.
Yeah, so one success.
So,
no.
A natural 1 is 2 successes. That's a critical.
No. I actually rolled 12, and I needed to get 12.
Oh, I see. Okay, so 1 success. Miguel, can you get a success?
Just barely. I got 1.
Okay.
Nice. So just be like, no. Just pull the wire out. Yeah, it's going to be a while. Keep pulling.
So
Yep,
yeah,
yeah.
you guys working together managed to put the internal sensors around the cargo bay on a loop. So you'll be able to scramble through the Jeffries tubes in the cargo bay, at least for a few minutes, without setting off any alarms.
Nice. Yeah, we climb down and navigate ourselves to the cargo bay.
Yeah, so the Jeffries tubes are pretty tight quarters, and you have to crawl one by one. And Aja will go with you too, so there's 3 of you, unless you object. Is that okay with you guys?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the 2 of you, Dr. Ozil, Commander Han, and Aja, and you're crawling on your hands and knees through the Jeffries tubes, making your way toward the cargo bay. And you enter into kind of a vent off to the side, and you can peer through the vent into the room. And you can see that there are several crewmen in Starfleet uniforms standing around a big piece of equipment that you don't recognize. And it almost looks like a turntable, but it's huge, maybe like 15 or 20 feet in diameter. And you can see that there are 2 figures strapped to the turntable, one of whom you recognize. It's the other security officer who went down to the planet's surface with you. What did we say his name was? Just a second here. Ensign Carter Ehlers, security officer in a red shirt. And the other figure strapped to the table, as you look closer, you notice that it's humanoid looking. It's got a head and a body and 2 arms and 2 legs, but the face is like a blank sheet of metal. And there are flashing lights on the body of this figure, maybe some wires dangling out. And then you see that Captain Harriman is also in the room. And Captain Harriman pushes some buttons and flips a switch on this machine, and the turntable kind of rotates. And then when it returns back to its original position, you see that strange humanoid shape has now taken on the exact same form as the ensign security officer. And so it looks like there are now 2 versions of Ensign Ehlers lying on this turntable.
We hear techno music too, right?
Okay, yes, we got Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
It's not a porn movie, you know.
No, I mean with the turntable. Yeah. All right. Well, making note of who's whom, Hando turns to Aja and says, it seems like they're being replaced.
That's exactly what it looks like, she whispers to you. I don't know what that thing was, but it's definitely not our ensign.
How many are there, by the way?
So there's Captain Harriman, and there are 2 other crewmen, and then there's this second version of Ensign Ehlers. So it looks like there are 4 plus the original form of Ensign Ehlers, who's unconscious and still strapped down to the table.
Well, it seems like we have to take them down, Doctor.
Well then, let me just get a scan going. We should be able to get a much better thing without it being reflected. So let's get that going.
So what are you scanning for, Miguel?
I'm just looking for some sort of thing of being like, okay, how do these things work? There's got to be some sort of weird electrical thing.
Yeah, give me a difficulty 2, insight plus science roll.
Okay. I'm going to also use one of the momentum we have to get an extra dice. It's cheap. 2 successes. Last dice. 15. That is definitely over, so just 2 successes.
Okay, so you got exactly what you needed. What you notice as you're scanning in the cargo bay is the form, the machine form, looked like it was clearly mechanical, right? And then the turntable turned and something happened, and then when it came back, what was once a mechanical form is now basically indistinguishable from Ensign Ayler's inside and out. It's like a perfect copy. You would have a pretty difficult time distinguishing the copy of Ayler's from the real version, except before you know that thing was a machine.
Great.
Hando turns back and says, "Phasers on stun, wide beam," and
Do
he
you
nods.
think phasers are going to work against this?
Well, it's the best thing that we got so far, Doctor.
Yes. What I want to do is see if we can try to turn off that machine, where it goes further. More importantly, we got to figure out what happened to the crew that were copied.
I'm fairly certain that the captain over there is not our captain. He wouldn't just simply stand around, looking at his own crew members being copied and being replaced.
We never had this happen before, Hondo. You're making a lot of assumptions on that part.
And he's going to look to Aja and say, do you have a phaser also?
Yes, she does.
Doctor, I'm going to create some distraction if you want to work on the machine.
Sure.
Just wait for a little commotion.
Okay. Good luck, Commander.
And he puts the beam on wide and, sets the, setting on stun. And from where he is, he's going to hop down and shoot.
Okay, let me read the area effect. So you can take like a bonus action and switch your phaser to area effect. The attack affects a wide area and can affect several targets at once. The attack automatically affects any character or damageable object within reach of the initial target, and then one additional target within close range of the initial target for each effect rolled, starting with the next code. Okay, if one or more complications rolled. Okay, so for each effect you roll, assuming you hit, for each effect you roll, you can hit an additional target. There are currently 4 of these duplicated crew members in the cargo bay.
Okay. My phaser, I get to roll 8 dice, I think.
So okay, so to make your attack roll, it's going to be a difficulty 2, control plus security.
Okay.
And you have no momentum right now, but you could pay me threat to get additional dice.
I'll actually shoot. It's control plus security, right? Okay.
Yes, sir. Difficulty 2.
Here we go. 10. Ooh, 10 and 20. So that's a critical failure.
Excellent. Okay. So as you're about to fire, the vent that you're in, you're kind of leaning. You're trying to sneak out of the vent, but when you open the metallic doorway, it accidentally makes a screeching sound on the deck. And before you're even able to get out of the vent, the 4 duplicates turn in your direction. And what does Captain Harriman say? Or at least the duplicated version of Captain Harriman.
Sorry, you caught me by surprise there. Gentlemen, so good of you to join us.
We decided to drop by, Captain.
And the captain motioned to. I think you said there was at least one security guard there. The guy that had just been duplicated.
Yes, that's Ensign Ayler's.
Take them to the brig.
So the duplicated version of Ensign Ayler's says he doesn't say anything. He just nods and he starts striding toward Commander Han and Aja and Dr. Ozil.
Well then, that is very bad. And this thing is pulling power from the ship, right? I'm saying out loud.
Yeah, the machine appears to have been assembled and hooked up to the Venture, correct?
Yes. And I'm just saying out loud with like a sort of like, let me go ahead and try to do this sort of palm sleight of hand. It's going to be like a daring insecurity to just have the communicator on. Be like, man, so this thing is attached to the ship. All of that's powered by it. And let's see if I'm able to get this come through.
What are you trying to do, Miguel?
Oh, I'm trying to learn engineering to cut the power in here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
That's why I'm like saying it out loud. All of that. Yes, that does. I get one success.
Okay. So, Lieutenant had been monitoring your frequencies anyway, and she picks up on what you're sort of hinting at. And yes, she's able to cut some power to the cargo bay, and whatever this alien machine is, this duplicator, does appear to kind of power down and the lights go dark. However, you're still in this cargo bay with 4 duplicates that look like members of your crew, including your captain.
Yes. Well, that's just going to get the captain a bit more angry, and that's fine. Hando, the captain is a Klingon.
Well,
What?
Don't let the crew down.
yeah, he shoots a phaser at the captain. Die,
Okay.
Captain, die! I injured the
Look,
doctor.
after everything I've done for you,
I injured the doctor. I'm gonna go for 2 this time.
Here's the
before
question.
you were court-martial.
Yeah, he's gonna go. He's gonna shoot, but he's going to invoke his "I will not fail my duty when others rely on me" value,
Okay.
which is crucial. And yeah, he's gonna shoot phaser at him. Set on
Oh,
stun.
go ahead. Not only are you going to shoot your captain, but you're going to throw everything you possibly can into it to make sure you don't miss.
Yes.
So are you using your point of determination then?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so just spending that determination gives you 2 successes. And you can roll additional dice to see if you can generate momentum. You need it's difficulty 2, control plus security.
Okay. Let's see. Control plus security. Oh, 1 success only.
Okay, so you got 3 successes. You only needed 2, so you generate 1 point of momentum. And so you fire your phaser on wide beam, so you can roll your security dice, your d6s, according to whatever your phaser attack is.
Okay. So phaser attack type 2. I got number 8 right next to it, so I suppose I get to roll that, right?
Yeah,
it should be like 3 plus your security modifier, or plus your security number.
Yeah, security is 5, so 8.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, let's see. 2,
Tell me what you did.
3, 2, no, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, and 1.
Say that again.
I got 5, 6, 6, 5, and 1.
Okay, so that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 5 points of damage, and for each effect, you hit an additional target. So that's enough. Your wide dispersal hits all of the targets. Now, the question is, were you firing on kill or stun?
Stun.
He had to pay threat to do it on kill, wouldn't he?
He would. When you fire, you use your wide beam dispersal and you connect with all 4 of these duplicates. However, the stun beam appears to have no effect.
Oh no.
And when after the ruby beam flashes and then goes dark and you're back in the cargo bay, Captain Harriman, this duplicate of Captain Harriman is unharmed. Does he say anything?
This is the point he gives a cheesy one-liner. If you're going to shoot to kill,
I'm just going to hold myself together after he tried to shoot me. You won't succeed, gentlemen. There are far more of us than there are of you now. Take them to the brig now.
all right.
The sun setting has no effect on any of them, he yells.
Yeah.
The captain motions for...
Oh,
What was that
that's
thought?
great.
Sorry, I said the captain motions to the other duplicates to move in and take the group prisoner.
Yeah, so I really like that idea. So I'm going to spend all my threat to do a reversal. As you guys realize that your stun effect, your stun weapons had no effect on these duplicates. And so I'm going to end that scene as these duplicates take custody of the three of you, Aja and Commander Han and Dr. Ozil, and takes you to the brig of the Venture. And so that's where we come to our next scene. The three of you are now alone in the brig. And so you guys have basically discovered that Captain Harriman has been replaced by some kind of duplicate. So Paul, I'm going to have you no longer playing Captain Harriman for now, and you'll jump to Aja until you guys get this situation resolved. So we're in the brig. You guys have had your communicators and your phasers confiscated, and the new duplicate version of Ensign Ehlers is standing outside the brig guarding you, and there's a force field in place keeping you inside. What are you guys talking about? What's going through your heads?
I swear to
Well,
God, Hando.
Aja's got a question. I know I'm new to the ship, but does this happen very often on Starfleet ships?
Actually, surprisingly, yes.
Yeah, Klingon raids, kidnaps.
More often than you'd think.
People that are basically to the equivalent of gods that think us as ants decide to throw their hands around. Planets that looked at like an old Earth history book and decide, let's mimic that.
Well, the doctor is very cavalier about it, but I don't know. I mean, for me, it's the first time. I've never seen anything like this before.
Well, not exactly this, but you know.
Yeah, but replacing our own crewmen? That's pretty darn strange. How do we get out of this one?
Well, I'm guessing we need to get out of this brig for a start. Any ideas?
I suggest we start talking a little bit lower so that the guard doesn't even know about us trying to break out. That's just me.
Well, to be fair, I think they're probably going to assume that we're going to try and break out, but... Okay, any ideas?
Now, hold on a second. Let me talk to Ehlers. Lieutenant Ehlers.
He's just sort of staring at you unblinkingly. Yes,
Are you Lieutenant Ehlers?
For all intents and purposes, I possess all of his memories and his personality.
Well, then perhaps you realize that you're sworn to uphold your duty.
My new duty is to find out who created us and where they went.
Have you had any success?
No, that is why we require your vessel.
You could have just asked.
And nicely, too.
You might have said no. We couldn't take that chance. It has been centuries since there have been any vessels to visit our planet.
You do realize we were under orders to find out what happened, right? Why the place was abandoned?
We are not concerned with what your orders were. We simply...
We had the same goals. That's what I'm trying to say.
And what goal is that?
Basically, we wanted to find out about the original settlers on this planet and see what happened with them.
It seems like our goals aligned. We wanted to find out what happened to your ancestors or your creators, and you wish to do the same.
The old ones created us, and then they took to the stars and left us here. We are the abandoned.
Do you know how to operate warp technology?
Once we
You,
duplicated your captain and were able to copy all of his memories and expertise, we understood how to operate your vessel. Since then, we've been slowly duplicating members of your crew. We now have enough that we can operate this vessel without any problems.
we're going to say is the diplomatic route probably would have been better. You duplicated the captain, so you know exactly how big Starfleet is. And if you really were wanting to work with us diplomatically, it would be able to cast a far wider net to find out what happened with your creators.
We also must transfer the animus.
What?
The animus. Our companion artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm. So you require a transport for that, right?
Yes.
Do you believe this ship is sufficient for that? Or would it have been better if we were able to coincide work with you guys and help design a ship to be able to transfer that?
We will have to refit some of your computer systems, but we believe it will be sufficient once we have completed the required upgrades.
Doctor, I believe we're dealing with beings that are completely devoid of any conscience. In pursuit of their knowledge or desire to find out what happened to their creators, they were being completely belligerent. There's no way around dealing with these people. I don't think we have to return the favor.
Here's where you're wrong, Hondo. We are still Starfleet officers. These are still sentient people, and thus they deserve to be given a chance. And one thing about Starfleet is that we always will be willing to help. It's our mission.
We could be enabling these beings to replace the entire sector.
Yes, and I mean, this is the important part about diplomacy is you don't go guns blazing. You decide to do the hardest thing, which is actually trusting the other person.
But what happens if they take over the ship and then leave us behind? And what happens if they meet up with other ships? They could take over more ships.
Mm-hmm.
If they're really mechanical people, if they're really androids, then they're purely logical.
If they were purely logical, they would have gotten rid of us.
Well, how do we get out of here?
I do believe this person is the best sort of thing. So I'm just going to be along the lines of asking all about their creators, all of that.
Does Hando know anything about the brig, door operation? Does he know any passcodes or, something like that that may, give him access?
Oh, totally. I mean, you're the chief of security. If you want to give me a difficulty 2 reason plus security roll to create an advantage, give that a shot.
Hold on. Reason plus security. It's 12. Let's see. Here we go. 9 and 13. Oops, that's one success.
Okay, not enough to create an advantage. You know, I mean, you know the system inside and out. You also you help modify it and design it specifically so people on the inside would have a difficult time escaping. You feel like you've done all you could to make this cell escape proof.
Nice.
Great,
job,
you make the system and you now have to break it.
Good job, Hondo, but boy, you're in your own trap now. Yeah. So he's gonna, try and see, whether if the security code works. He's gonna say, Hondo, Han, Chief of Security, code 25722, whatever, and he's gonna see whether if that would allow him to access the door. He's hoping that these replaced beings do not know about that particular loophole.
So Ensign Ehlers just kind of smiles at you and he says, when we duplicated Captain Harriman, we also knew that senior staff might try some kind of security code lockout. And so we changed all those codes. We now possess all the knowledge that Captain Harriman possessed.
Does Adja know anything about the sort of engineering of the brig? Is there some way that she might be able to, I don't know, short out the force field or something?
Yeah, sure. Like what?
I'm guessing that there's not going to be any sort of panels on the inside that we can take apart.
No.
Not from the inside. However, that's a good point. You hear a really faint knocking coming from the rear of the brig.
I'm going to move away.
Adja will go over and listen to it.
Give me an insight. Anyone that wants to listen in can give me an insight plus security roll, difficulty 1.
Insight plus security. Where are
I got a critical success.
Good.
Awesome.
You know Morse
I got
code.
one.
You know exactly this is the scene from Star Trek V.
Exactly.
Stand back from the wall.
So yeah, it doesn't say, it is Morse code. It doesn't say stand back, but you do, Commander Han, you're able to kind of piece together the letters it's just 4 letters, and it's T, S, A, I.
Okay. Yeah, he nods and he whispers, "It's Lieutenant Desai." And then, he taps back. Understood.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm going to get this droid busy with me because I'm going to be arguing with him about all of this. It's like, you really are. Where's the other crew? Where's the original crew?
They are unharmed, but I cannot tell you where they're located.
So they are not unharmed. All of this. So basically, yeah, you didn't really have to cross the Rubicon. Goodness sake.
So yes, as Miguel, why don't you give me a presence plus command roll to see how well you distract this duplicate guard.
All right.
I got 1 success on mine.
I got a 2 and a 8. So 2 successes.
Okay. So you now have 3 points of momentum at your disposal, and you are able to distract the duplicate as one of the panels at the rear of the brig just kind of cracks apart, just like a couple of centimeters. As Tasai in the Jeffries tube behind the cell is able to unscrew one of the panels.
I were you two, I'd probably go through to Jeffries too. I'm giving you enough of a distraction.
Okay, let's go. Quick, 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 quick.
Yep.
Is that the plan?
Yeah, I mean, is it big enough for us to slip through?
If you pull the whole panel out, you'll be able to. But at that point, it's going to be difficult to not tip off the guard at that point. Right now, he seems distracted by Dr. Ozil's arguing.
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna pull it out, and he's gonna say, go ahead, climb in. As soon as he notices, I'm gonna and try to enter. I'm gonna try to knock him down.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. So yes, you guys pull open the panel, and who's diving in first? You can see Tasai is ducked down in the Jeffries tube, and she says, "Come on, let's go."
I think it's going to be Aja first, and then once the guy notices, I'll probably go in, and the last will be Hando.
Yeah, Hando's gonna stay back just a moment to try to knock the guy down.
Awesome, I love that. So yes, that duplicate of Ensign Ehlers sees that you guys are making a break for it, and he takes a moment to shut down the force field so he can enter the brig, and he ducks into the panel that's been pulled apart. And what do you do, Commander Hondo?
Hondo punches him in the face with a mean right hook.
Okay. Right, so you have 3 points of momentum at your disposal, and this will be a what is it? Daring plus security roll, opposed by the duplicate.
I will use 1 momentum.
Okay. I got 2 successes.
I got 2 successes also.
Okay, so the tie goes to the aggressor, which is you. He's kind of taken by surprise. He just kind of pokes his head and shoulders through the gap in the panel, and you slam into him. So go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. So 5, 5, 6, and 2 and 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of damage.
Well done. Okay, so the android has 2 resistance, so I subtract 2 from that, but that's still 5. So you slam your fist down into the android, right? Like you're hitting him. You can go ahead and narrate it for me if you like.
Yeah, as he peers in, he just grabs his face and delivers a right hook right to the jaw, and for a second it knocks him out, I guess.
Yeah, it does. So you knock the guard, this duplicate of Ensign Ehlers, down to the deck, and when you strike the jaw, it doesn't feel like flesh and bone. I mean, it feels more like something synthetic. And when you slam the jaw, it breaks a little bit, and you can see some of this artificial skin peels back, and it's like a Terminator or something. You can see computers and wiring and lights flashing on the other side.
Yeah, Hando yells, "Ouch!" as he pulls back his fist. He actually climbs out of there and checks to see if he could find a phaser on him.
Yes, he was carrying a phaser.
Okay. Yeah, he takes that and a communicator. And
awesome.
He joins the rest of the crew.
Okay, so you among the 3 of you, you have a phaser and a communicator, and you figure it probably will not be too long before these androids figure out that their prisoners have escaped. And that is where we will end tonight's session, and we'll pick up the next session to figure out how you guys get out of this tight fix.
Wow.
Yes. Congratulations. Our ship is getting taken over by Terminators. That's great.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's getting tougher and tougher every session.
It's not like we planned it this way.
Yeah, it's great. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, you bet. But Paul was actually he had the idea for this session, and he was in on the joke the whole time. He did a tremendous job.
Yeah, I said to Fred.
The only reason I didn't get replicant is because of Hando knocking me out.
Yeah, that's right.
That monkey saved us.
Yes.
It was a lucky break.
Yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to see what the Doctor and the security chief would think of a situation where the captain wasn't the captain anymore.
Yes, and more importantly, we just made a mention is the fact this is like, yeah, the captain's always been distant. But he's more distant than usual.
Yeah, it was kind of walking a tightrope a little bit, trying to sort of be myself, but not give too much away.
Well, I'm going to end the broadcast. So yes, please tune in next time for part 2 of The Abandoned as we find out how Aja and Dr. Ozil and Commander Han get themselves out of this sticky situation. Thanks, everybody.